I got my team, and it's all I need.
What's going on, everyone? We have another episode of Game Time Excellence where we talk about your mission, your mindset, mastery, and maintenance. We have another special guest. He caught me in the early beginning of my career. This was the second year of my career. We trained together as stars in SoCal, and he's one of the fastest people I've ever been around. Every day we train together. Every day we train together. I tried to beat him in a race, because I knew he was so fast. And for the people, Peyton, people who don't know who you are, that should know who you are, can you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Nah, man, just another California underdog, man. Just not really highly recruited, just undrafted, just another guy trying to make it, man, and just somebody who I feel really, when I explain myself, I always find myself explaining myself as somebody who really used the tools that I developed through sports to kind of make my way in life, right? So, there's always a little bit of talent that plays into it. There's always a little bit of luck that plays into success, man. But to become the 1% of the 1% and to even take that further into life and to use those tools and apply those tools, it takes a different mindset, right? It takes somebody who is willing to be undefeated and are willing to defy the odds at all costs, right?
Right. No, I love that. Peyton, he's the underdog, but he squeezed out 6 years, and that's, I hate to say squeeze because 6 years is a long career in the NFL,
Correct.
The average career in the NFL is 2.5 years, so a lot of times people see people, like Tom Brady or Julio Jones with these massive deals, but they don't see the person that gets signed and then gets released the next day. They don't see the person who goes from practice squad to on the roster to practice squad to on the roster. So to play 6 years in the NFL is amazing. So, Peyton is a humble guy, so, he doesn't want to say that. Now he is a entrepreneur. He does all things real estate, as he told me. And for you, like growing up, what was your mission? What was your ultimate goal for you? How did it?
It was tough for me because I didn't really get to choose. My dad had played a little bit of ball. He actually went to Oklahoma State for a smooth minute, man, and then got a year or two in the league, man, and then played a little Canadian. And then I had two cousins who were older than me, both played in the league. And then I have a younger cousin who just signed a new deal with Carolina. Shout out to Shaq Thompson, man. So it's kind of been in the family. My dad's always kind of trained us up in Sacramento, California. And it was just kind of something that was instilled in me, man. But I also had, family, friends, and other mentors that were into real estate. And everybody has their own unique path into real estate. Some people have some money, so they're able to kind of take a side door into it. Right. Some people start off as agents making cold calls and work their ways up to being brokers and then end up investing. And some people just have investment money and kind of just work it in that way, man. But I was always somebody who was using football to just get to my next steps. Like football this, football that. Like it didn't matter if I was in the Hall of Fame or I squeezed out a year. Right. I was just trying to use whatever income I did make and turn that into some sort of real estate profit. Like there was never football was a dream, but it was a stepping stone, right? And I always kind of knew that, and I think that helped me in my transition, and that kind of helped me with my perspective while I was playing because, like Tony Gonzalez said, shout out to Tony Gonzalez, man. Tony Gonzalez told me my rookie year, he said, even I only rent this locker.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I'll never forget that, man. And I ain't talked to him in a couple of years, but I might want to hit him up and hit him with a thank you for that one, because man, it really shifts your perspective, right? So, it didn't matter if I signed it, a little tender, or if I was on practice squad. It was like, man, I got to make the most of this 10 months because that's what I'm gonna use to provide for my family. And you know how it is, man. As soon as you commit to playing ball midway through college or post college, and you take that step and you leave college early, or you just don't go apply for a job, you apply for this. I mean, all your chips are in one bucket, right?
Right.
Like everything's in one bucket. You got to go get it. So just with that being said, I knew that whether I was in the league a day,
Mm-hmm.
whether I never made it or I was
Right.
there for 10 years, this was a stepping stone. And when it was over, it was over. Right.
Right. No, that's
So
so cool.
that mindset always just helped me keep things in perspective.
Right. No, that's so cool you say that though, man. Because I was gonna add, man. I had my financial advisor. He always told me, he said, Shamiel, this football is the greatest temp job known to man. You know what I mean? You can't work in the NFL forever. You know what I mean? So I love that analogy. You don't own that locker. You're renting that locker because at some point in time it's gonna be done for you. And so during the off season, how did you use that time to maximize and master the skills for the next stepping stone?
That's tough, man. I mean, as you know, there's two different types of guys in the league. There's those who are comfortable but yet still working, and there's those who are uncomfortable and grinding to get to that next season. So like man, you may get 3, 4, 5 weeks off if you're an underdog before you really start getting back to it. So there is no time to do anything in the off season, right? Unless you just happen to have the wherewithal, or you happen to have an uncle or somebody who's a sound investor or something like that who can really just walk you through it and make the most of that couple months of time you have off. But then there's the other type of guy who they were safe, they were secure. They knew they had, 3 to 15 M's coming their way.
Right.
They would kind of take a break. And those are the guys who can be like, hey man, I'm not worried about what shape I'm in going into OTAs. Let me take off to LA for 2-3 weeks and do an internship or work with this guy, or let me just throw some money into some multifamily homes or whatever.
Right.
And see how, and I'll learn by trial and error, right? So there's just different types, man. And you and I were the type of guys that was like, before season was even over, we were plotting on the next season. Just because even if you're making that minimum 480 or 520, whatever it is, man, that's going to turn out to be $300K something, right? And that's going to last you 2-3 years, or if you're just that guy, but not in California or anywhere with high taxes and cost of living. So we were those guys who didn't have the time to do that stuff in the offseason. So to answer your question, I was just informative with intention. Like I sought information with intention, right? So it didn't matter if I was staying with some guy during the off season, family friend while I was training in LA. I'm taking him to dinner and picking his brain, right? Like, how are you a CEO? How do you pick the people that work for you? Like, what do you look for, right? Is it a character thing, or you need accolades, or is it a school thing, right? And you eventually just kind of use your common sense and just logically piece things together, right? And kind of figure out what it is that you want to do. But I mean, honestly, besides having informative conversations, I was scared to do anything with my money because I never knew, like, hey, when September rolls around, I'll probably get cut and I'll just be stuck with this 200K.
Right.
Well, what I'm going to go put 50K in this for, man, if I'm going to turn around and then I'll only have 150 when September rolls around, right? So like I really was more just intentional with seeking information within that time. So I at least had an idea when people ask, like, what do you want to do? I'd have a better answer than I don't know. Right. And I think that is the biggest thing that guys have a hard time with transitioning out, whether it's a year in or 10 years in, is, what do you want to do? I don't know. But if somebody says, what do you want to do? You're like, man, I either want to do this or this. That's a whole nother ballgame.
Right. Now they can start helping you at that point.
Right. Now at least when you go take somebody to coffee, like you're talking about something specific versus like, hey, what do you think I should do? Right. Just a different conversation.
No, for sure. Hey, so did you attend any of the NFL like boot camps, like where they had finance boot camps, or did they have real estate boot camps? I don't know if they had that, but
the real estate is kind of built into the business boot camp. And I keep telling guys, man, the NFL sends guys, so direct them to me, group chat or email, and kind of like, hey, man, ask Peyton what he thought about it. Man, I think it is stupid not to go. Right.
It's free though too. That's the crazy
free
thing. Yeah.
Bro, it's free. Like all you gotta do is pay for the flight.
Yep.
And I think the flight and the room, and they reimburse both, or they reimburse the room, and you really just paid $100 for the flight. Whatever. And it's not like you have anything to do at that time, man. To me, honestly, I don't want to call people lazy, man, but you're not putting yourself in the best position for success if you don't attend a couple of those things, man. So like the finance boot camp for me, because I like I said, I'm intentional with grabbing information in the off season, or even when, you know, they come have people speak to the team during OTAs. I write that stuff down, and I ask questions to my personal advisors and stuff like that. So the finance thing was a little bit repetitive to me, but I mean, you could always use another or catch more details about your 401k or your personal assets or something like that. So if you're saying no to those things, man, you're really limiting yourself. And in the business boot camp was very informative, and it wasn't informative on, I knew exactly what I wanted to do when I got done. But at that time when I had a couple opportunities. You know, people are saying, you know, you should franchise, you should open up a franchise. Yeah. Or I'm thinking, do I want to get into real estate? And it's like, we only got so much money to play with. I got a couple $100K to play with, right? And I put half of that or some of it into something, man, that's it. That's my only shot, right? Yeah. So just going to those boot camps gave me, well, I mean, we had certain exercises, right? Like, I remember I got teamed up with my man, Corey Peters. Right. We had to open up, it was just like a digital thing over Zoom. The whole class was in there. Everybody had partners, and you had to open up a coffee shop, right? You had to do the name of the coffee shop, the pricing of the different types of coffee you wanted to hold in your thing. You know, when there's an economic downturn, what do you do to still pay the staff, whatnot? And it was a 2-hour like little thing, and they walked you through it. We paused, and everybody would talk about the results, and then we would go on to the next step. But it was one of them things that was like 90% of the people that were in there were like, dude, I'm not opening a restaurant or starting a business. Like, so that's not for me. Like, that's a lot of guesswork, a lot of data you got to bring in. I don't know. Like, that's not for me. Yep. And then that's the same thing with the franchising thing. And we had a couple come in, man, excuse me, because I don't remember their name, but they opened some Firehouse Subs, I believe, sandwich shop, something like that. Yeah. And it was a couple, and the dude had, I think he played like 3 years in the league with Tampa or something like that, man. And they had opened one franchise, and we really just got to ask them questions, man. Like, what's it really like? What was the first 6 months like? What was the first 12 months like? And, you know, they ended up telling us things like, hey, man, yeah, we have 8 stores now, and it's very lucrative. Me and baby girl, we making cash. Making cash. We got locations. Yeah. We got 4 here, 3 here. We got 1 popping up here. And you're like, okay. And then you get into the conversation, man, and they're like, hey, that first year was shaky. We both working full time. I'm making sandwiches. She back there scrubbing toilets. We had to do what we had to do. Yeah. And there was almost a time when we lost it because we didn't know what we were doing. And then 3 months later, it kind of turned around, and we got some help from the headquarters. And they kind of pieced it in. And then just going through all those hardships, I remember like 90% of our class was like, yeah, I want to franchise. Everybody was asking so many questions, bro. By the time they finished that exercise, I don't think anybody wanted to franchise, bro. Nobody. Right?
Hey, everything's a risk, though. Everything's a risk, and you don't realize
everything's a risk. I don't. It just, those boot camps, man, at least give you a little dose of reality. Right? Just a small dose. Like, man, if I got 10 mil, I can pay somebody to do that first year, and it's not gonna be me and wifey in there scrubbing toilets, and I can open up one franchise, and if it does well, it does well. Cool. Right? But if I only got 100K, that's like all my savings, and I don't got somebody to do it with me. It's just me. That's not for me, right? And I think just those boot camps, man. I got my little NFL wellness boot camp notebook right here.
Hey, here we go. Hold on.
Yep. I got mine too. Yep. Shout out to Ross School of Business. Yeah. Man, it's informative, right? Like they just. I mean, you sit there, you do enough exercise, and you're there 4 or 5 days, and you're like, you may not know what you want to do, but what you will know is what you don't want to do. Right. And that's half the battle. And I think that's what a mentor really hit me with one year was, you know, you're sitting here trying to figure out what you want to do. There's a million things you could do. Why don't you just start off writing down what you don't want to do?
That's good advice right there.
And that eliminated a lot of the conversation for me. Right. So now I'm only down to like 2 or 3 things that I do want to do. So now you're just more tuned in. Like, at least I know what direction I'm headed, right?
No, that's facts, man. That's really good information right there. Figure out what you don't want to do, then you can start eliminating that, and then you will get closer to what you truly want to do, and that's so true. And so the crazy thing is, like with college, NFL, business, there's resources that are out there that we can utilize. Same thing in college. There's resources, there's conferences, but you quote unquote are too busy and you don't take advantage of them. You know what I mean? Even if it's like once a month. You know what I mean? You take advantage of once a month. That's doing something rather than just playing video games. And the same thing with your business. How do you expect to truly, get better if you're not attending conferences, if you're not attending things in your industry that help you master those skills? You know what I mean? And so, for you, how did you come up with that mindset to continue to want to grow and get better in life?
Bro, this is what, a lot of what I speak about comes from guys in transition, because I always try to help guys in transition, and I feel like I'm always in a transition, right? Blindly working, right? And a lot of people don't really understand that, but do you remember personally yourself, like you remember when you were in high school and you were like, man, I want to play college ball, but you didn't really know nothing other than that, right? Or even before that, you were like, man, I know I want to play varsity for sure, right? When you're just in elementary coming up, right? And you would just work, like, hey, we're going to the field, okay, right? But you weren't like, oh, I gotta do this or I won't go to college, right? You were just going because you were like, man, I'm trying to get better, right?
Exactly.
Like, you're not gonna be better than me, right? I'm gonna at least be the best one on my team. At least that was for me. Like,
no, I
wasn't paying attention to like, oh, I want to go to top 5 college. I want to go here, man. I was just, if my homeboys hit me up, like, hey, we're going to go out to the field and run some routes. I'm like, yep, I'll be there. I'm going to drop whatever I got going. Mom, I'm going to clean this bathroom later. You know, right? But you're just blindly working, right? Like, you're not expecting an immediate return on your investment or immediate return on your work, right? And I think a lot of guys experience some success, or they start getting scholarship checks, drafted, get to the league, a practice squad check, a regular check, and those are immediate returns. Like that lets you, that's something that you attained from your work, right? But then dudes forget, like, bro, you worked 10 years, elementary school through high school with no reward. Like, it wasn't like your only reward was making the team. Like, you knew you were going to make the team. Like, that had nothing to do with it, right? So you was just blindly working. It wasn't until your junior, senior year where you were like, oh, I'm trying to go to college. And then there was a little bit more meaning to it. But to answer your question on the point of how do I stay focused and always trying to grow in a similar fashion is just to remember how hard you used to work blindly and still match that energy and that intensity and that willingness to get better or to get more information or to become more knowledgeable about something, even though you're not going to get a result tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. No, that's so true, man. Because if you're always result oriented, man, you miss the process. You miss the enjoyment of just working, of just trying to just solely get better, just to get better. You know what I mean? And I think that's so true. That's a great point right there. See, hey, everyone, I'm learning just like you guys are learning, and that's why that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, man. One, we're on quarantine, so I'm like, man, I got nothing but time. And then two, I'm like, man, one of the best ways to get better is to just ask people questions. And so, I'm asking people questions during the podcast, and I can put it out there, and you guys can learn, I can learn.
It's all perspective, man. Like, you may know the answer, but just hearing somebody else answer it differently is like, ooh, okay, right?
Yeah, that's good right there. Yeah, for sure. And so, how was the transition for you? Your last year, was it with the Jaguars, right? Or
2018. After that AFC Championship, we got duped on, but man, like I said, dude, I was never. Every year, bro, I just worked. I didn't even expect to make the team. Like, I just assumed they was gonna try to cut me every year. Like, I would the season would end, bro. I'd be the number 1 or the number 2 nickel. No matter how good I did, man. Come back. That boy get that tender, that new contract. Show up first day. I'm back at 3rd nickel behind some rookie. Like, it was always trying to get me out, bro. They didn't, They're not gonna like the light-skinned DB anyways, bro. We know that. We know that. They wasn't trying to give me love anyway. We know that. You know, so it's just every year. I mean, it didn't matter if I was captain of special teams or whatnot, man. I just always expected to be cut.
Right.
You know, people would ask me halfway through camp when they'd be like, "Oh yeah, you probably not even gonna be playing the third game or whatever, right?" And I'm just like, nah.
Right.
They're gonna make me play with all the young bucks, bro. They gonna make it hard on me, man. They ain't gonna, and to their credit, right? It wasn't always put in the worst situation, but I always just assume the worst, prepare for the best, bro. Like I don't trust anybody, dog. I don't trust anybody, man. So to answer your question again, like I just assumed I was gonna be cut. So even at my last year, man, we go to AFC Championship. I'm captain on special teams.
Right.
I'm running stuff, leading team tackles. Right. Everything going good, bro. You think at this point, you like, yeah, he gonna re-up, right?
Right.
As soon as they released me, bro, it was just like I wasn't even phased. Like it was annoying, but I wasn't mad, right? I was just like, here we go. It's my time to shine, right?
Right.
Like this is my time to take advantage of the transition. Like what I'm not gonna do is run out my money. What I'm not gonna do is let whatever GM or coach that decide to get rid of me, he ain't getting the last laugh. Next time he see me, I'm gonna be lucrative and smiling and doing well, right? Because I remember my rookie year, man, I hate Tim Lewis, dude. Tim Lewis out there, I hate him, bro. He's the worst coach I ever had. Bruh told me, I mean, we had a bunch of Pro Bowlers in our room. Now we talking guy talk now.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of Pro Bowlers in our room, bro. I think we had 11 DBs in the room, and like 7 or 8 of them were Pro Bowlers.
Right.
Like, and the rest of them were drafted guys, like they weren't getting cut. And I was the only practice squad dude, only new dude they brought in that year.
Right.
So that coach used to just rip me, bro. He told me bro, I got a pick on, bro. You can ask Asante Samuel, dog.
Right.
I got a pick in practice. Coach gonna freeze the screen, circle me with the highlighter, and just start cussing me out. I made the play. You're not wrong when you're right now.
Yeah.
Right. But he's still grilling me because he can't grill anybody else in the room.
Right.
He can't grill, they all getting paid more than him. He can't grill nobody else.
No, that's how it goes too.
That's exactly how it goes. You know how it goes, right?
Right.
So he grilling me, and I'm just looking around the room like, man, right?
Right.
He said something, bro, I'll never forget. He was like, man, you'll never make as much money in a year as you make here. Boom. Keep in mind, I was on P Squad. That's $99K.
Right.
Like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So all you did was kind of spark me, right? And that's that motivation right there.
Right.
That's all it takes right there to just keep yourself going in that transition to where you're like, man, next time he see me, that will not be the case. Keep in mind, I'm active 4, 5, 6 years now. He got to see me in pregame when we play another team, right? Yep. So it all comes back full circle, man. But it's like I said, it's working blindly, trusting nobody, expecting the preparing for the worst.
Yeah.
Preparing for the best too, man. You got to expect both and prepare for both, man, and just really be to and through with your purpose, right?
Yeah.
And just really kind of just sticking to yourself and just kind of staying true to that.
Right. No, and I love that you looked at it as a challenge. Some guys would be
Absolutely.
like, man, this coach don't like me, so I'm not gonna try anymore. You know what I mean? They're gonna play the victim instead of being like, okay, I'm gonna show you. And so you looked at it as in your transition, like, man, I may be done with football, but I'm gonna make more money not playing football than I did playing football. You know what I mean?
And I mean, that's what you prep for, right? Like every year, I'm like, man, all right, let me go. I'm ready.
But hold on, right? You say you prep for it, but most guys, they think they're gonna play 10, 12, 15 years, and when it's done, they act like they're surprised, like it's never gonna happen. And that's cool that you say that.
It's on their own common sense, bro. Yeah. That's on their own common sense. Like, I mean, we both don't see it. Like, you have a rookie come in, 5th round pick, guaranteed roster spot.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, he's starting. 2nd year, he lead the team in sacks.
Yeah.
3rd year, he gets hurt. He comes back. 4th year, they draft a dude in his same spot.
Yep, gone.
Next thing you know, he done bounced. He done hit the Bengals roster.
Yeah.
He done hit the Browns roster.
Yep.
Now he at home. Year 4 or 5, he at home with no plan.
Yeah.
Oh, so you just thought it was all good, huh?
Yeah.
And then it's just like you're not listening, because on that same team with a guy just like that, we had a coach, Keith Armstrong, always said, he said it don't get you till it gets you.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you think it's good, it's not good. Right?
Yep.
So it's just like I catch myself anytime I'm like, oh, I'm living. Oh, it's coming down, bro.
Yeah.
God gonna bring the house down on me. I'm
Right.
already knowing. That's how my life goes. Like as soon as things are too good to be true, oh, he gonna bring the house down on me.
Right.
God love teaching me some lessons.
Right.
That's it right there.
Yeah. No, I love that. And so
you already know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it's facts though. Because
bring the house down. I'm prepped for it. Go ahead.
Right. No, that's facts though. Because I mean, I agree with that because you know, as soon as you like, man, you know, I made the team, or I'll tell you a story. When I was with the Dolphins, you know, I'm having a bomb preseason. I'm doing well. My agent calls me and says, Shamiel, you know, you made the team. I'm like, yes. 2 minutes later, you know, the coach say, hey, I need you to bring your iPad in. You know what that means when you bring your iPad in, it's done. I'm like, I text my agent. I'm like, dude, what you talking about? He said, man, I don't know what happened. So I get up there. You know, normally they keep two quarterbacks. They kept 3 quarterbacks and like 6 running backs. You know what I mean? That never happens. Right. And so as soon as I thought everything was good, no, I get cut. I go to the Vikings. From the Vikings, Xavier Rhodes gets hurt. Then I get released from there. Then I get a workout with the Jets. I saw you at the workout with the Jaguars. It just went on a plethora of workouts, and it taught me so much. Like, if you really want something bad enough, how committed are you really to it? You know what I mean? And so I think you know, that took like a mental toll on me. And in the league, it's so important to take care of yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually. You know, and so, you know, when you were playing football, how did you take care of yourself mentally and spiritually? You know, obviously physically you got massages, stretch, stuff like that, but on the mental end, how did you take care of yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost impossible to keep all 3 at the highest level possible, right? So when there's a lot of, I mean, we're not all Braun, man. We all can't spend $1.5 million on our body and then just worry about the mental and the spiritual, you know, and that be, you know, you're responsible for all 3, man. And that's if you can't afford to hit the masseuse 2-3 days a week, that means you gotta be putting in an hour or 2 on your own at just that body work, unbothered, right? But how did I do it, man? That mental and that spiritual is the most important. I think what's crazy now is all the motivational speakers and the access that you have, right? So like the Eric Thomases, right? Like those type of guys, like my last 2 years, like that's all I'm listening to in the car. Like I'm not going, now listen, he may be blowing me full of air, bro, or it may just be something that I'm not even listening to. But what I'm not going to do, bro, is just not even attempt to keep my mind right? Or allow one of these coaches or a comment or, you know, something I see on social media or somebody getting more playing time to me, like really affect my mental, right? Like I said, I'm gonna always be on guard and have that underdog thing. So like, as long as my mental's right, I mean, bro, this is a journal, dog. I ain't got no work written in here, right? This is venting right here, like, right? This is what I'm grateful for, what's going wrong, what's going right, what I need to prepare for, and how I can be better. And it's just, bro, it may be the same thing I wrote yesterday as what I write today, but at least going into things, I'm not just getting up in a rhythm, head to the stadium. I see my name done drop from 1st to 2nd or 2nd to 3rd on the depth chart, and now I'm mad, right? Like, because I did this the night before, and I woke up with my mind right, like, yeah, they're going to try to screw me over today, but I'm going to be resilient. I'm going to be resilient. It's going to keep you unwavered, right? So that's the mental part. A big thing for me on why I kept a job is, and what's crazy is when I was in Jacksonville, I came in as a practice squad guy, stayed there almost 5 years. And when I left there, it was only me and one other guy, Aaron Colvin, who had been in the room the whole time, the whole 5 years. Everybody else had just rotated in and out the door.
Shout out AC, man.
Slick. AC, young Slick. Young Slick. And the biggest testament to that was, bro, I learned every position in that room. Bro, I even knew, bro, there's even a time my third year there where we were down so many linebackers that we kind of like threw in like a bandit / dime package, and I was really playing out. I had same responsibilities as an outside linebacker, right? And that's just because you know stuff. And the key, I don't know, it's because I banged my head so many times. I don't know if my comprehension isn't great, but I realized that. And sometimes you gotta keep it real with yourself, man. And like, I realized like, oh man, I forgot that in the heat of the moment when he motioned, it skipped my brain. But I know that. So in order to counteract that, bro, I turned the entire playbook into flashcards. And like, even though it was redundant as can be, bro, I still have the box. Bro, I'll show you the box. It's down in storage. I got a box, bro. So you know how you install the playbook when you come in OTAs, right? And then you kind of do it again during mini camp. They do like a quick version, like we're only going to do these plays, or they reinstall the playbook. Then when you come in for camp, they reinstall the whole playbook again. Bro, 3 to 4 times a year, I'm rewriting every word of the playbook. If this, then this on a flashcard. Right. If 2 motion, then this. If 3 motion, then this. Alignment, assignment, everything, bro. I'm talking about one call. I got like 12 flashcards. Redundant. But every time they installed it, I'm rewriting the rules. Same thing, right? So by the time year 2 come around, like I know safety, nickel, corner. I'm like, hey, you supposed to motion over there. You not supposed to go over there. That's a blitz in the B gap, right? You supposed to be coming through the B gap. I'm through the C gap, right? So then now you have extreme accountability, right? So now the coaches trust you, and now my teammates trust me, and now they asking me. Then the coaches are like, make sure you get him right.
So can people trust you? Can people trust you? That's
extreme
key.
Accountability. Extreme accountability, right? Almost in a militant way, right? So as far as the mental, dude, like whether that's listening to people who are just positive or motivational, maybe that's what you need to be filling your head with instead of trap music on your way home, because that's really only going to piss you off, right? I mean, it's different strokes for different folks, but that's for me. Like if I had 15 minutes on my way to the stadium, like I'm probably going to be slapping Juicy J or something of the sort. However, bro, I need to, at least when I put my headphones and I walk into the stadium, I need to be listening to something positive that's going to get my mind right? Because there's going to be a lot of adversity that happens in the day. Somebody always good for a stray comment that's meant to piss you off, bro. Satan works real hard, dog. So you got to just make sure you work harder. And then as far as the mental, is just knowing stuff, bro, just knowing myself, being real. Like, hey, man, I don't spend enough time on this. Why do I only know my position? And like, if I only got to know one position, why am I missing checks, motions? Okay, cool. Let me just keep writing it down. And it becomes so repetitive that you knew every position. Then they're like, hey, we need you to move to safety. And you like, I'm a little light in the ass, but I'll go. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, those are my only answers. That's all I got.
No, I love it though. I love it because, I mean, one big thing that I think people can pull from this is like, how much value do you add? You know what I mean? Like, the reason why you stayed for so long isn't because like you were this great nickel. It wasn't because you were this great special teamer. It was because you added so much value they couldn't let you go. You know what I mean? Because there wouldn't be another player who would come in and know the nickel, the linebacker, the safety, be able to kill it on special teams, all that. Man, you added so much value, and that's the same thing in business too, man. Like, how much value do you truly add, and do you know how to do multiple things? That's why people, with the Patriots, that's why they keep a lot of people. They like them because they can do multiple things. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, it's like, what do you like? Do you know your weaknesses? And are you willing to do whatever it takes to make that weakness a strength? You know, if you read David Goggins, he talked about he wasn't that great at learning, but he would write, if he had to study for a test, he would write each word in that book to memorize it. I'm like, that's crazy to me, but what are you willing to do it? Are you committed to it? You know what I'm saying? And then like the physical piece, I don't want to skip over that because now that you're not playing football anymore, how do you take care of yourself physically?
I'm still going to physical therapy about a year after I got done playing. I had hip and knee surgery. Both of them were destroyed. I've been playing on a torn knee for a couple of years, screw in the foot, just kind of unbalance some things, man, and had me just overcompensate in a lot of areas. but you got to stay on it. And to be completely honest with you, the physical aspect is the mental aspect for me, because kind of like a David Goggins or somebody like that, right? Like, to me, the hardest thing to do, I'm not a fan. I don't want to say I'm a fan. Due to my own mental, I make it a point to do the stuff that's the hardest to do, like that I really don't want to do, dude. Like when you retire, like all I really want to do is eat gummy bears and drink cold brew and tequila, dog. Like I really don't want to be doing the stuff I'm supposed to be doing. Like a gallon of water is not attractive to me anymore. It wasn't attractive to me then.
Yeah,
right?
It's definitely not attractive now.
It's definitely not attractive now, right? But it's like, okay, what does that say about me physically? Like, I won't have to worry about myself physically. I can kill two birds with one stone if I go do the hardest thing mentally for me, which is the physical part, now that I don't have to do it. So doing the things that you don't have to do and that you don't want to do, bro, that kills two birds with one stone. So every morning when I wake up, bro, it doesn't have to be a heavy lift. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, dude. I get up, and at least 5 days a week, I'm drinking water first, because I know I don't want to. That juice sounds hella good before you brush your teeth. That juice is all I really want when I get up, right? But I'm going to drink water first, and I'm going to go do something for my body. 30 minutes to an hour, because one, it's going to help me feel better. Two, I know I don't want to do it. Therefore, if I go, the first thing I do in a day is go do the one thing I didn't want to do, the hardest thing. The rest of my day gonna be downhill. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I come across, right? So like, I'm not trying to be in peak physical shape anymore. And it was definitely, obviously, that was the main priority when you play, because you can't make the club in the tub. We all know that, bro. Your body is the most important thing. If I don't drink water, I'm getting 3 IVs a week. Like, it just, there's different things. Like Goggins, he's not good at learning. I'm gonna just write it down until I know it, right? So that physical part, but the physical part and the mental part should always be tied together, because it's always a like fall in love with the process. And when you're playing ball, that's the work on the field, right? And the knowledge of playing, right? Watching film and just making sure your body's right. But when you get done playing, you can really kill two birds with one stone if you develop your mental through your physical, right? So just getting up and doing that stuff you don't want to do. You don't want to do it in the morning. That's just easier for me, because I know, like, I mean, it's just like when you're in college and you have them morning workouts. All I got to do from here on out is make it through class, and get to study hall on time. That's it, right? So that's kind of how I attack each day. Is just I know I can kill two birds with one stone before 8 a.m. and be peak performance, peak mental before I even grab the coffee.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, man. Because if you really think about it, you should start your day off with something mental and something physical. Because, like with a football game, when have you ever went into a football game without a warm up, without a stretch, without anything? You know what I mean? Like, never. And so, if you think about like life, like we start our days without anything. You don't start anything to mentally prep you. You don't start anything to physically prep you. And there's people depending on you to perform at a high level at your job. Your family's depending on you. You're dependent on yourself. And if you don't take that time to get yourself in peak performance mentally and physically, you're doing a disservice to everyone around you.
100%, and especially yourself, man. That's just, and you just, a lot of these entrepreneurs, a lot of these books, like, what bothers me the most, man, is when somebody tell me they read a book and then they don't do or reflect anything that they read in the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I got one buddy, like, oh, I read this book, I read this book, but he gets up at 8 a.m., 5 p.m. He's like, man, I still gotta go to the gym. I still got this to do, right? And it's like, dude, every book you read, I read. And every entrepreneur say he get up in the morning before everybody else is up. And he strategizes his day. Gets his mind at zero, at center. So he's ready for the day, and is probably doing something physical just because that's what needs to be done, right? Knocking stuff out before the bell even rings in the morning. And it's just, man, it's a lot of it, man, is actually just applying the things that you read and you hear. Nothing I'm saying right now is new to probably anybody who's listening to this podcast, right? It's just, are you going to get up in the morning, or is staying up, eating Doritos and watching Ozark till 2 in the morning really that important to you? And if it is, it is, man. But just know, I'm up at 6 a.m. and that means somebody on the East Coast is up an hour before I am.
Right,
So
right.
I'm behind the ball already, right?
Yep. No, that's
And that's
true.
how you used to think about it when you played, right? Like, hey
Mm-hmm.
man, them cats that's training in Florida, they already 3 hours ahead of us. Like,
Yep,
I gotta go get. I already see his post on his Instagram. He finished his workout. We're just
right.
walking in. I'm not cool with that,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So it's just the same thing, bro. Reciprocating that same mental
Mm-hmm.
after the fact.
Yep. And Kobe even talked about that. You know, he talked about, oh man, I'm gonna get up at 3:00, get a workout at like by 6 or something like that, and then I'm gonna get another workout at like 12, and I'm gonna get another workout at like 5. You know, by then it's all about separating yourself. You know, the gap. You know, and you know, some cats, you know, they start off 3rd grade, 5th grade. They're the best things, since, you know, and then high school. If you continue to work, you start closing the gap, and then once you get to college, now you start widening. It's the same thing in business, man. How much work are you willing to put in? And what I would ask for you, you know, is I do this at the end of every podcast. You know, what is 3 actionable items that you can give to the athlete or to the business owner to better themselves and get that edge?
That's tough. Other than the things that we've kind of already talked about, 3 actionable items.
While you're thinking about that, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. You know, me and Peyton talked the other day, and he talked about reading and react. We both play DB.
Oh, yeah.
And at DB, you know what I mean, you have to read and react. I mean, as a defender, just in general, you know what I mean, once the play starts, you have to read and react. You can't be guessing, because if you guess, you guess wrong,
right,
you'll be on the sideline or get cut.
Exactly. All right, home.
Yeah. So I love what he said about read and react, especially with the time that we're in. You know, as a person in life, your plan may have been like whatever January 1st, but now it is March 31st, and everything is switching up on you. So are you able to read the situation and react accordingly? And so I love that's one thing that I took from it, is be flexible, be able to pivot, and be able to make adjustments on the fly, and not get so stuck in, dang, this is happening, the woe is me mentality, man.
Right.
There's always opportunity in every situation. So I love that right there.
I'm a counter puncher, bro. Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I got you. On these 3 actionable items, I would say measure your willingness, right? So like, oh yeah, I want to do this. I want to do it, bro. I hate those people, dude. Hate it. I'm allergic to them, but it make my skin itch. Right. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. But are you willing to do it? Right. And the thing that's crazy about your willingness is like, as you get outside of sports and you get into business, there's some people that are at the top that don't belong at the top. They don't, like, not the smartest. You can say they got lucky. Some of them, they don't work the hardest, right? They may not even be the most informed in the room, but there's something about their willingness that is just more than everybody else's. Like, they're working 60 hours a week while everybody else close their laptop at 5, right? So it's like your willingness. Don't set goals for yourself, and don't say you're about something and then don't be about it, because that eats at your mental. That eats at your mental, because you may be telling everybody and posting on the gram, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and doing this, but in your mind, your subconscious knows, like, you ain't it, dude. And you ain't been doing it.
Right.
Like, you know that, dog. You know you're not getting up in the morning doing this or this or this. And that's what I'm saying. So you're like, measure your willingness, right? So like, man, I complain. I remember I got a buddy when I first moved out here to Austin. It was like, man, I get up in the morning, I'm at the gym at 6 a.m. And I was like, damn, that's early. Like, I don't get paid for this anymore. What you mean 6 a.m.? But I do need to get up early and get it done. So, okay, 6 a.m. is cool.
Right.
And you walk in at 6 a.m. and you see men, women walking out the gym at 6 a.m. And you like, damn.
Right.
You want it way more than I do, because they must have went to bed at 8, got here at 4, they're leaving at 6 with like a smile of confidence on their face.
Oh, they happy.
Dang, he already got it in. I still got to get it in. I'm just hitting the pre-workout, right? Like, I'm not even ready. Right. So measure your willingness. There's always somebody out there who wants it more. So when you're sitting there like, I don't know if I want to do that, just know like you are way below the spectrum if you're not doing everything you can to do the stuff that you want to do. Right. And you always wish there was more time in a day, but you could always get up earlier and get more in that day. Right. The second thing I would say is, and it kind of goes with the first one, is be intentional, right? So like there's a purpose behind everything, right? There's a purpose behind this phone call. Like I'm hopping on this podcast with you, that catch up with my guy, have a conversation, right? But the purpose is to inform others, right? To help other people. But I got a behind the scenes purpose. I'm trying to learn something too. Or even just by talking it out with you, I may have gave myself a new idea.
For sure.
Right. So there was a purpose for me when I got on this call. And there was a purpose for me when we set up this call. And there's a purpose to me getting up early. Like I don't get up and work out in the morning because I got a girl to impress, or you know what I'm saying, I need some IG likes, bro. I get up in the morning because I know I'm trying to get up before everybody else and get to it. Right. Like being the last one to the stadium ain't cool. Right. And that's that same purpose. Like, bro, I'm going to bed early just because I want to be one of the first 5 guys in there. Right. I'm ordering breakfast first. I'm being meetings first. Right. First one on the PT table, and them same things got to apply. Right. So measure your willingness, be intentional. And like, along with being intentional, just be real with yourself, right? Like, bro, if you overshoot, and scale back a little bit, man, and just be intentional, right? If you're having a conversation with somebody who's where you want to be, a mentor or just a peer, like when you're having a conversation with them, like be intentional with the questions you're asking. They should feel like, hey, he's trying to get smarter by talking to me, right? Like, oh, he's trying to get somewhere. Like his gears are turning while he's asking me questions, right? And you're not doing that for the satisfaction of them, but for the satisfaction of you, knowing that like if I'm having a conversation with somebody, I'm plugging forward. This is not a waste of time for me, right?
No, that's 100% true.
Right. And then the third thing would be be confident in your ability to follow through. And that's with a lot of stuff, dude. That's just life. Like, like just be confident. Like, hey, if he asked me to do this, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it above and beyond, right? And I'm gonna be confident about it, right? Like, hey, man, you wanna hop on phone? We gonna hop on phone. If I can't find time, I'll find time for you. I promise you, I'll find time. Do you have time? I'll make time. Right. And that applies to everything. Follow through, dude, because what you'll, especially as an athlete, if you're coming from the athlete realm to the business realm. You'll start to realize that the higher up you played as an athlete, the more you mirror a militant lifestyle, right? So like the general population, they talk about accountability, trust, character, things like that. But it hasn't really been forged by fire, right? Like they haven't really been through the fire and come out on fire and really understood like, hey, if I don't follow through on something, I screw over everybody else.
Exactly.
Right? And the general person doesn't really understand that because there's not always that implication, or there's not always that result when they do something wrong, right? Or they don't follow through on something, or they don't do something they said they were going to do. Everyone around them doesn't always suffer. Therefore, it's not really a consequence for them. So they don't really learn that. But just by playing sports, whether it's collegiate, pro, whatever it is, you're held to a different standard. If you mess this up continually and I'm picking you to start on my team, you may get me fired as a coach, and I have a family to feed. Right? You know what I mean? So I'm holding you accountable to do the things we say we're going to do in this meeting, right? So if you take that into real life, people are going to be blown back by you in business.
Because there's not too many people that actually follow through.
No, bro, there's not. And there's accountability, and then there's extreme accountability. Like, hey, man, that's what we talked about. And now it comes down to, I know you're going to like this. He either can't do it or he won't. Either can't or he won't.
That's it. You know what's so funny? There's so many like life lessons from football. You know what I mean? And I think that's why people want to bring in people, as far as like businesses, people want to bring in former athletes because the athlete world relates so well to, the
Those
business
tools
world,
apply to life, man. Those tools
right?
apply to business, and they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, we like working with former athletes, and we like this, and we like this about you. You'll bring these tools,"
Mm-hmm.
until they got it,
Right,
and then they're like, "Oh, he's not playing,
right,
or
right.
she's not playing.
Yeah,
She's really about it. She's really gonna follow through on that. If you tell her to do it, she's gonna do it.
right.
If you
Yeah,
tell him to be somewhere, he's gonna be there, and he'll be there 5 minutes early.
right,
Or we all showed up a little late. He's only one on time."
right.
Or you know what I mean? We kind of got this done, and then you're sitting there like, I've had it done for
Mm-hmm.
2 days because that's what y'all told me y'all needed, and
Right,
I'm always gonna be accountable, right? Like I'm always
right.
gonna have my stuff done. So you will succeed those around you when you get into business,
Mm-hmm.
transitioning out of sports, and you will literally blow people away
Right.
with your with just the tools that you have and just
Mm-hmm.
how thorough you are with following through just
Right.
on anything that you do. They're going to be like, wow, that person is really about it, and that's somebody that I can have on my team or that I can
Right.
trust,
Right.
right?
And the old saying, what's the people do business with people they like, know, and trust. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing
100%.
in football too, man. The person that's playing, if they can't trust you, you're not playing. If
Not
they
playing.
trust you, they'll play you.
You're gonna get me fired.
Right, guaranteed. And if you have that likability factor, that
Mm-hmm.
can keep you on the team a little bit longer too. If coaches like
Absolutely.
you, they'll keep you on the team.
Absolutely.
Um, and
So that's
so
just so those three things. Before I forget, it was
measure your
measuring
willingness.
your willingness,
Yep.
be intentional, and be real with yourself, and follow through
Right.
on the things that you got up here,
Right.
right?
Yeah. No, that's true. That's some great information right there. See, ladies and gentlemen, after this is over, I'm gonna go back and watch this and take notes myself. And I think that's so key, man. We went through, your mission. No, I don't know if we actually hit that. What is your mission now? What's your ultimate goal now with what you're doing?
Well, like I said, man, all things real estate. There's
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit different when you come in and you have a little bit of money to invest.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of don't have to start at the bottom of real estate. You may be
Mm-hmm.
able to put yourself at the top or kind of side door your way in, just because uh, you know capital works everywhere, man. Currency
Right.
is cash, man. Anytime
Mm-hmm.
you got that, you always get a little bit of leverage, right?
Right.
But my mission is to apply these same tools, man, that I've been carrying around my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
right? That we learn through sports, and be successful in my own way. Now, real estate, that may change. I may be doing commercial next year, or
Right.
I may find myself doing wholesaling or flips in a couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's wherever the money's at, however the market's moving, things like that. But as far as a mission, bro, I really want to continue to be my authentic self,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is always a little bit different, man. It's,
Right.
it's always different. Like I want to be the guy that's different,
Mm-hmm.
right? But still apply those same tools that I've been carrying around and be somebody that is trusted, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then to be successful enough in whatever I do, that I really become and follow through on becoming the man that I've always wanted to be in the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the last part of that is, um, is to raise the level of play of those around me, right? So
Mm-hmm.
to create a team, I don't know if that's hiring people, like once I have more success, hiring people below me. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
that's hiring people next year.
Right.
I don't know if that's mentoring young guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Coming out or transitioning out of ball. I don't know what it is, but when I finally am successful in what I want to do and become and mold myself into the man that I think I am up here and want to be in the future,
Mm-hmm.
would be to bring some young guys along with me, whether athletes or not athletes, maybe
Mm-hmm.
women too, man, just young
Right.
people
Right.
around me, and raise the level of play and expectations, and create a culture around me of like-minded young people.
Right. Right. No, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And so, we talked about your mission now. We talked
Mm-hmm.
about your mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned a great deal about how you go about mastering, the skills in football, the skills in life, the skills in, your industry. And then, we talked about, your maintenance, you
Mm-hmm.
getting up, at 6 o'clock in the morning, getting it in, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. So your mental, your physical, your spiritual. And so how do you want to be remembered? You know, what is one thing you want people to remember you by?
I would just want the people around me. I mean, kind of like our stories already, man. Up until this point, man. Uh, I want people to feel my presence.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not hype, that's not clout. Like, I just want you to feel that I've been forged by fire,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been forged through adversity.
Right.
I refuse to give up. I refuse to quit. Anytime you hit me with a challenge, it's a try me instead of a why me.
Right.
And I want people to feel that when I come in the room. Like, hey man, he's been through some stuff, I could tell, but he's been resilient, right? And I want people to see me on fire and know that I was forged through the fire, bro. Like, you know, it took some stuff to get here, man. Like, when you I mean, you get to read Goggins, and you get to hear about different people's adversity and kind of how they make it out, and you see the end result. But like, you want to walk into a room and be like, he's had a journey on him, and I can see it on him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yet,
I can see it.
Yet he's resilient.
Right.
And that's it. That's it, man. It's not about the clout.
Right.
It'd be nice to have so much money you don't never need to think about it, right?
Right.
But it would mean even more to reach that success, right? Whether you got $1 million in your pocket, $10 million in your pocket, 100 mil, but to just know, like, hey, that man been through it, and he's about it, and you know, that's somebody we never need to question, right?
Right.
And I think that that's all that really matters to me, man.
Right.
For those around me to really understand that.
Mm-hmm. I love what you just said. Not why me, but try me.
Try me.
Right.
Dang,
Right.
I'm gonna sit there for a day and be like, damn.
Right.
By the end of that 24 hours, I'm gonna come out like, all right, let's go.
Right.
I see the challenge. It sucks, but I'm about it, right?
Yeah. And it's okay to hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's okay to throw that pity party at least
it's okay.
one day, but come out of that pity party with a plan and some action items that you can do.
Right. And my mom put that in me early. Like, hey, you sit here and cry, you can sulk all you want, but tomorrow you better get it together, right?
Right. Yeah, you better. Because the thing is, time waits for no man. You know what I mean? The world's not gonna stop running if you have a situation going on. And so, man, it was a pleasure, man. I really appreciate you making it happen. You know, talking about follow through. You know, I love being vulnerable and I love being honest. You know, me and Peyton had a call at 8:00. And I stayed up too late. It's too late working, and I didn't wake up and call. You know, so my follow through was weak right there.
Yeah,
and you gotta be honest with yourself. And I think that's one of the key things you can do in life is just look yourself in the mirror and be like, man, and hold yourself accountable. You know, you talk about other people holding you accountable, man, but the most important thing is to hold yourself accountable. You know, and so I really want to say thank you for coming on. You gave some gems. You know, I learned a lot of valuable information. And you know, I know you're busy. You got meetings and calls and all that stuff. So I really appreciate you coming on.
Nah, I appreciate your time, man. It's always a focus for us, man, especially as guys who kind of had to come up the hard way through that profession, man. It's always important to try to guide those who are on their way up or kind of who have already made it, man, and just kind of need a different perspective, man. And just to those who are always willing to learn some stuff, man. I'm open for conversation at any point in time, man. I'm always willing to learn something. And like I said, just, you know, provide some purpose or some intention when you talk to people, all people, man. Just any conversations we have, I'm looking to take something from you. And you know, I'm glad you could take something from me, man. As long as it's always productive conversation, man. My phone's always on.
Yeah, no, I love it. And where can people find you, you know?
Oh, man, you can find me anywhere, man. You can hit me on IG, man. Shoot, you tap in with Shamiel Gary, man. You hit him up, man. He'll direct you straight to me. I promise you. If you ask him to be connected to me, he'll link you up, man. I'll let him be the filter.
I'll be the filter. I got you.
Yeah, you the filter, man. If they're about it, man, they're good peoples, genuine peoples, man. You can give them my cell phone number, you know, whatever it takes. But man, same goes for you, man. I hope I always call you. Same thing, bro. Always looking to learn.
No, likewise, man. So everyone, man, this was another great episode of Game Time Excellence, where we talk about your mission, your mindset, mastery, and maintenance. I'm gonna add this in there because I love this quote: "Do not trade what you want most for what you want in the moment. Do not trade what you want most for what you want in the moment, man. Remember the mission at all times. So y'all have a blessed day. Be well. Peace.
Yep.